Meanwhile, at the UN today, the United States sided with Russia and North Korea, opposing a resolution backed by most of the rest of the world. It condemned Russian aggression and demanded Russia withdraw its troops from Ukraine. The administration instead putting out a resolution of its own, saying, let's just end this conflict without assigning any blame to Russia. Now, one can make the case that you don't want to publicly denounce a leader that you're trying to get to the negotiating table. Still, the optics are ugly. For more on all of these developments, we're joined now by retired four-star General Philip Breedlove, who also served as the NATO Supreme Allied Commander of NATO. General, thank you so much for joining us. So I want to ask you, Trump was asked point blank in the Oval Office this afternoon if Putin is a dictator. He refused to say he was, even though he calls Zelensky a dictator. And this comes on the same day that the United States, as we just said, voted with Russia and North Korea against our European allies on that UN resolution that blames Russia for the war. What do you make of this?
Well, Elizabeth, thanks for having me on. And to be very frank, I cannot rationalize either of the questions you just asked me. Mr. Putin is a dictator. And if Mr. Putin's ways of election were examined in the light, they would be very damaging to the position that he's trying to show as, quote unquote, a democratic leader. He is not. The elections are not free and fair, and et cetera, et cetera. And
so do you buy the argument that he's trying to lure Putin to the negotiating table? Insulting him might not be the best way to do that?
Yeah, I can't speak for the president and what's in his mind. All I know is what the facts are. Mr. Putin is a dictator, and Mr. Zelensky is so far on the other end of the scale as to not even discuss the matter. And the fact that we, the United States, would join with the countries that we joined in a resolution that is not condemning of Russia's starting this war is hard to understand. Mr. Putin in 2008 marched his armies across borders, invaded Georgia, and occupied portions of it. In 2014, he marched his army across internationally recognized borders, invaded Ukraine, and occupied Crimea and portions of the Donbass. And here we are back in 2022, 23, 24. He again assembles his army, marches across internationally recognized borders, invades, and tries to subjugate his neighbors.
Yeah.
This war completely on Mr. Putin.
And it's important, and I'm glad you pointed out, that this was not the first time that Russia, under Putin, invaded another democratic country. He's done it before many times. He did not do it for the first time 3 years ago today. It was interesting, General. I was watching President Trump and President Macron in the Oval Office today, and Macron twice corrected Trump, first saying, in fact, Russia started the war, and in fact, Russia is the aggressor. And then he said, because President Trump kept saying Europe is lending Ukraine money and we're just giving it to them, so we need, the rare earth minerals in return as a result. He leaned over and gently touched President Trump's arm and said, Europe isn't lending the money. That was given, free money given to Ukraine.
That's correct. And, these things are all part of a sort of a public conversation, but the facts matter. And the facts here support that Mr. Putin started this war. All you have to do is go back and read the two documents he gave us at the beginning of this war. And he said, sign these treaties or else. And we now understand what or else was. This war is completely contrived at the will of Mr. Putin to accomplish his objectives in rewriting the security architecture of Eastern Europe.
So do you think President Trump can end the war in a few weeks, as he is saying today in the Oval Office he plans to do?
Elizabeth, if he ends the war in a fair way to Ukraine, which is the aggrieved nation, which is the nation that was invaded, which is the nation that has been beaten up and destroyed in this war. If he ends it in a way that acknowledges and addresses those grievances, then yes, we need to end this war. I applaud that. But what we don't want to do is capitulate to Russia. And right now in the public, it sounds like that's where we're headed. Capitulating to Russia just means they'll be back.
You think he'll do it again, Putin?
Why would he not? It's worked for him 3 times so far.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.